What's going on, everyone? So look, I am as big of a LeBron guy as the next guy, right? But the reality is LeBron is not the same. He is struggling mightily, right? And we need to be honest. We need to have real conversation about it, right? Like, it's okay. Again, I'm a big LeBron guy. I'm on record numerous times saying that I believe he is the greatest player to ever play the game of basketball. I'm always pointing at my poster in the background and referencing him and mentioning him, right? I like LeBron. And look, I do trust LeBron to kind of figure it out. I do think he is in a slump to an extent, but his decision making this season has been bad. And his decision making even last season was pretty rough. It wasn't as bad as it's been this year, but it was pretty bad last year. I mean, we have had numerous instances where LeBron just decided to, take an ill-advised three or, careless pass or just, not having the effort and energy on a regular basis. LeBron is not the same, and that's fine. He's age 40. He's year 22. Like, no one's expecting him to go give you 40 every night and carry the team and be this super duper star, right? But to struggle as bad as he's been, it's concerning. And he doesn't help by taking a bunch of ill-advised threes. I'm not saying not to take any threes. I get he's trying to shoot himself out of the slump. He's trying to dig himself out of the hole. But pick and choose or get into some actions, talk to JJ, whatever you got to do, be like, hey, I need to get some open looks and try to take some quality threes here to kind of see the ball go in rather than just holding the ball for 20 out of 24 seconds and then just jacking up some contested three or, taking some deep three or whatever, right? Like, get yourself some quality looks. You're LeBron. If you go to JJ and be like, hey, I need you to run a play, get D'Lo the ball, let him create some action and get me the basketball, right? I need an open look. I need an open three. We can generate that for him, right? Like, it's not that difficult, right? The passing, right? The turnovers. He's always been a big turnover guy. Like, he's always had his trouble with turnovers. He's so high usage. I mean, you look at all the top guys, like, Luka led in turnovers last season, Trae Young, right? These high usage guys usually are heavy in the turnover department. But again, most of LeBron's turnovers are just careless. It's him trying to force a pass or thread a needle when it doesn't need to be forced, doesn't need to be thread, right? Or it's him leaving his feet. He's constantly leaving his feet and just getting stuck. Like, they teach you that in grade school. Literally. They teach you that in grade school. And it's getting to the point now where I understand LeBron's in year 40. Or year 22. He's age 40, right? But we still need to have a standard for LeBron. I understand, a lot of LeBron stans, they can't give him any type of criticism. Well, he's carrying, he's doing this, he's doing that, right? Look at his, yeah, but he's still being paid 40 plus million a year, right? He's still looked at as one of the top players in this game. We criticize Anthony Davis, we criticize, other guys on other teams. Like, no one is above criticism, even LeBron. If you don't want criticism, then play for, 10 million, be the fourth guy, fifth guy on the team, and then, just be another role guy. But that's not what LeBron is, and LeBron shouldn't be, right? He's still an incredible talent. Right? I still think he is one of the better players in the league. And I do think part of this is just a slump. He even said himself that he's kind of, he's trying to adjust to the new system, right? He's trying to play more off ball. He has the lowest usage of his career, right? Like, he's trying to figure some stuff out, right? And so you knew that there was going to be this adjustment period. You knew that there was going to be this learning curve. You look at LeBron in the Olympics. You look at LeBron earlier in the season. I do think part of it is a slump, but I also think part of it is just him, right? Like, he's not going to be the same, and that's fine, right? I mean, we've never seen anybody to this level at this age, right? You know that there's eventually going to be some kind of tears. I think LeBron needs to take like a couple of weeks off to just rest, right? I think he needs some time, but no, he wants the accolades. He wants all those things, right? So it's this rock in a hard place, which is why I, once again, think that the Lakers desperately need to get a guy like a Zach Lavine. I know people don't like the idea of Zach Lavine. Some people, more and more people are starting to come to my side. More and more people are starting to be like, you know what, Tyler, I think you're right about the Zach Lavine thing. But Zach Lavine solves so much right? Obviously, the athleticism, the defense. He has this reputation of being a bad defender, which most of the things, I also want to say that like most of the things that people like I see in the comments or like try to make counterpoints against Zach Lavine, if they just took like 10 seconds to look it up, they would see that they're wrong, right? Like Zach Lavine, oh, he's a terrible defender. He's not. Every season, he is either league average or better, right? Like he's usually around there, right? Like he would be our third best defensive player right now. You take that as you may, but still, right? Like he's a guy that can get after it defensively because he has the athleticism, right? He has the wingspan. He has the size, right? He can be a good defensive player. Not elite, not great, not anything like that. Just a good to very good defensive player, right? The injury history people always talk about. The guy played 25 games last year. Yes, that's not great by any stretch of the imagination, but he was supposed to finish the season. He was supposed to play the rest of the way until you ended up getting the word that, hey, Detroit might end up trading for him. And he was like, I'm not going to Detroit. All of a sudden he needed surgery, right? If he would have finished the season like what was scheduled for him to do, then he would have played around, 50 games or whatever again, right? But you look at the last 5 years beyond last season. Played 77 games, 67 games, I think it's like 60 games, 58 games, and like 62 games, right? The guy's giving you, 60 to 65 games a season. On the best end, you're getting, 70, right? It's fine. There's a reason the NBA has made the threshold 65 games, because that's the average for stars. But what Zach Lavine does, besides the athleticism and the rim pressure and the scoring and all that stuff, he would take so much pressure off of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but particularly LeBron. Zach Lavine being out there, he can be, like LeBron can just let Zach Lavine and Anthony Davis essentially be the 1-2 punch, and then LeBron can kind of trickle in what he wants, right? Like he can, like he's doing it now. He just kind of injects in doses, right? The scoring, and then he kind of gets himself to 20 or whatever, right? Like we've seen him. He has 7 at halftime, and then you look up and you're like, oh, LeBron had 30, right? And it's just because like he'll just go on these spurts, right? And he could do that with Lavine and Anthony Davis. Imagine Zach Lavine in the Austin Reeves role, right? Like it's not even close. It's not even comparison, right? And you talk about a guy that can help rebound, help defend, help score, help make plays, help do everything that the Lakers need, but more so allow LeBron to basically be the play that Magic Johnson role, right? And play the role that he's playing right now, but have a higher caliber player to rely on a regular basis. And Zach Lavine doesn't prevent you from doing the other things that the Lakers need. You can literally go get Zach Lavine, go get like a Dorian Finney-Smith, and then go get a Day'Ron Sharpe even, right? I mean, in a perfect world, you get like a Walker Kessler. But if you go get Zach Lavine, that solves your guard and athleticism out on the perimeter. You go get a Dorian Finney-Smith, that solves your issue with the 3-and-D wing, right? Like, you could literally go with like Zach Lavine, Dalton Connect, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, right? I would prefer kind of having like that point of attack guard if possible, but you can't have everything. And I just think Zach Lavine in the ceiling raise by himself is insane, right? Then you add in a Dorian Finney-Smith and you add in a backup center, and now the Lakers I think are a contender. Right? People are worried about his contract. Like LeBron James was willing to take like $20 million less for DeMar DeRozan or Klay Thompson or Jonas Valanciunas, right? Zach Lavine's better than all three of them. You don't think he'd take a discount to go free up whatever needs to be freed up to go and do that, right? And then people talk about depth. What depth? We have the worst bench in all of basketball. I think we're like third or fourth in like total bench production, right? Like bottom 4, right? Not top 4. And that is with like D'Angelo Russell giving you like 17 a game now. Right? Like it's just, we don't, like depth is great when it exists. It doesn't exist right now, right? Like you're trading Gabe Vincent, D'Angelo Russell, and Rui Hachimura to go get Zach Lavine. Gabe Vincent is giving you nothing. You're not losing anything there, right? So it's basically D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura for Zach Lavine. Zach Lavine is literally giving the same production as both of them. Maybe not so much with the way that D'Lo's been playing lately, right? But over the course of the season, right? Like literally Lavine is giving you the same production on better efficiency than both of them, right? Like, so again, give me that guy, the ceiling raiser. Take the pressure off of LeBron. Now LeBron on most nights can be the third guy. He's never going to really be the third guy, but he can be the third guy, right? And Zach Lavine on any night. I mean, Zach Lavine, he had a 50 piece last year and he was 20, played 25 games, right? Like, and it would take pressure off of all three of them. The fit is seamless. Zach Lavine's been one of the best catch and shoot 3-point shooters in the league since he came into the league, right? Like, imagine him as like that slasher and cutter and, just doing the things that we see Dalton Connect do and all these other guys. Imagine if that is Zach Lavine, right? Like, it would be night and day. Like, your offense would be virtually unstoppable at that point, right? Defensively, obviously there's some concerns, which is why I think you need to go get a legit 3-and-D guy, or you like desperately need Jared Vanderbilt back, right? Because between like Zach Lavine, Dalton Connect, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, you have enough offense there, and you can't really glue a guy to Dalton Connect, right? Because if you have, right now, teams are just kind of glued to Connect, and then, try to contain LeBron and AD as much as possible. They're fine with Austin Reeves shooting threes and all these other guys, right? Like, you even saw last night's game, right? Like, they just packed the paint and just, hey, go ahead, everyone else beat us. And LeBron struggled to get to the rim because there's just 5 bodies there. And then, Anthony Davis gets neutralized because everyone's in the paint. So he's trying to fight over everyone. And then he has to develop into a jump shooter. How do you do that with Zach Lavine, Dalton Connect out there, right? Because now you can't just glue a guy to Dalton Connect. You can't pack the paint. I mean, you can glue a guy to Dalton Connect, but then how are you going to have enough bodies to stop Zach Lavine, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis? Zach Lavine can operate in the mid-range. He can knock down the midi. Right? Like, it opens up so much for our offense. We'll be more efficient. You get athleticism, right? Like, I prefer that so much more. Again, you could still keep Austin Reeves. I would at that point bring Austin Reeves off the bench just because I don't really like the idea of Reeves and Connect in the starting unit. Dalton Connect, you could argue, but Dalton Connect at least gives you athleticism, and he's been rebounding the ball very well, right? So I like the rebounding. I like the athleticism, right? If you kind of wanted to go get a defensive guy, maybe, right? But, the problem is, like, the Lakers aren't going to trade, like, Austin Reeves and stuff like that. So it's just, you're kind of with them where I would, like, love to turn Austin Reeves into something else in, like, a Bruce Brown. Imagine, like, Bruce Brown, Zach Lavine, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Probably the best team in the league at that point, right? Like, I think what we're seeing with LeBron, I think you need to go get that other guy. You need to go get that other scorer. I think it's becoming more and more apparent. Like, hey, we could really use a guy like Zach Lavine. Because even if you get a bunch of role guys, right? Let's say best case scenario, let's say you get the Brooklyn Nets trade, which, like, the big one, right? And you get, let's say, Dennis Schroeder, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, and Day'Ron Sharpe. Yes, that fixes all of your holes. That fills all your needs, right? You got point of attack guard, you got 2, 3-and-D wings, you got a backup center. You're good, right? On paper. But you're still reliant on LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Maybe not as much, right? Because Cam Johnson's a guy, go get you 20 on any given night, like Schroeder, especially the way he's playing right now. Like, you got guys that could come in and collectively. So maybe you get the better collective, but you also run the risk of LeBron James still needing to be LeBron James. And how often can he be LeBron? He can still do it on any given night, but he can't do it every night. And that's the difference. I think they need Zach Lavine. I really do. Like, I just think as the season progresses, I think it's becoming more and more apparent. Like I said, more and more of you are kind of like, you know what, Tyler, you're right. Like, and I just, again, call me crazy, right? Lakers need defense. I'm not denying it, right? Lakers need a center. I'm not denying it. But they also need that consistent offensive weapon that also just so happens to give you the athleticism, the rebounding, the playmaking, the defense, and I think that that's a great approach. But, that's my opinion, and as always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think, like, are you somebody new? If you're somebody new that's like, you know what? I didn't like the idea of Zach Lavine, but I am now. Please let me know down in the comments. Like I said, I'm getting more and more of those comments. So doing a run-in tally, right? So anyway, again, let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.